As a gardener, I try my best not to play favorites in the garden, but this plant right here always comes out on top year after year as it grows in my garden with almost no effort, all while producing these beautiful blooms. And every person who visits my garden is blown away both by the looks and the smell. Its botanical name is Senna didymobaccia, but its common name is popcorn cassia, which can give you a good clue as to what that smell is. Another common name for this plant is the buttered popcorn plant, and that's because the leaves, when you rub them or if there's a strong wind blowing through, give off the scent of buttered popcorn. Some also think it smells like peanut butter, but I've never really gotten that. It just smells like delicious buttered popcorn, although you cannot eat it. So today we're going to talk about why you might want to grow it in your garden, common mistakes to avoid, and how to start it the easy way. Popcorn cassia is a perennial legume, which means in the right conditions and right climate, it can grow year-round with almost no water and intervention. Being a legume, that also means that it's a nitrogen fixer, so all the while it's producing these beautiful blooms, it's pumping nitrogen right down into the soil. And that also means you can chop off the leaves and they make a wonderful green mulch that you can use in your garden to get some nitrogen in the right places. It's native to several regions across Africa, but is naturalized all over the world and is widely used both as a green manure, like I mentioned, cover crop, and ornamental plant, which is really how I use it. It is a really low maintenance plant, and while we just got our first proper rain of the season here in Southern California, it survived with absolutely no supplemental water for about 9 months. And it's worth noting that those weren't 9 months of struggle. That was 9 months of the plant looking as good as it does right now, in full bloom with beautiful green leaves. Now this plant is about 3 years old, and growing it as a perennial lets you really enjoy the visual benefits, but functionally it really shines as an annual when you grow it as a means to pump nitrogen into your soil and fix bad soil. It has an incredibly deep taproot and an extensive root system, which is great for breaking up compacted soil, but that also means it's not the best container plant. As I mentioned, this plant is about 3 years old, and the first year that I had it in a 5-gallon grow bag, and it looked nice. It was maybe about 2 feet tall, but it kind of stopped out there. But as soon as I transplanted it into native soil that had nothing growing in it, it exploded. And while this plant has been knocked over by the recent windstorm surrounding the Eaton fires, it actually is about 12 feet tall and a good 12 feet wide. And it can actually grow upwards of 25 feet tall in perfect conditions, but tends to top out around 8 to 10 feet in height in normal conditions like you see here. As I mentioned earlier, it has naturalized all over the world, and I love seeing it pop up in various places. I was in Barcelona last spring and saw a absolutely massive popcorn cassia, and more recently I've seen them in Baja California in a few locations, but I haven't been able to film them because I'm usually the one driving, but someday I hope to catch clips of these big, beautiful plants with way more blooms than you even see here. I first found out about this plant early on in my gardening journey when, in one of my local garden groups, a fellow gardener posted that she had a few extra seedlings available, and when I looked into it and saw these beautiful blooms and the promise of movie theater scents, I got one, and the rest is history. That being said, I certainly made a few mistakes early on because there's just not a lot of information out there about this wonderful plant. The biggest mistake was transplanting it into a 5-gallon grow bag, which when the seedling was this big wasn't a problem, but given its incredibly strong taproot and expansive root system, capped its growth pretty quickly, and it again stopped at maybe about 2 feet tall and about maybe 1.5 feet wide. Since transplanting it to native soil though, it absolutely exploded with no input, no fertilizer, no nothing, which has further expanded my love and passion for this plant, because if you're in any area that's kind of drought prone or in a Mediterranean climate, it is a beautiful thing to grow, not only visually, but native pollinators love it. And while it isn't a native species, they love it, particularly California carpenter bees where I'm at. Carpenter bees interact with it in a really interesting way called buzz pollination, where they kind of shake their bodies and get the pollen loose in here. And I am always hearing that buzzing sound all the way from my kitchen to my laundry room, and it's just a really fun treat both to watch and to listen to. So should you grow this? I would say absolutely yes, but there are 3 things that you need to think about before you do. Number 1, it gets really big really quick, and if you plant it in the right native soil, it will explode seemingly overnight. You can always prune it back or grow it as an annual, but if you're planning to grow it as a perennial, I would recommend at least a 4x4 space to start out with some room to expand, because it can get really big if it's happy. As far as sunlight requirements go, it prefers full sun, but it can tolerate some partial shade. I think in this spot it gets maybe 4 to 6 hours of sunlight a day, and it's still doing absolutely wonderful. This one has pretty much maxed out the space that it's in, but the next ones that I grow will be in spots where it can grow to its full width and height potential. Number 2, it is technically toxic, so if you have pets that love to munch around the garden or kids who like to do the same, I would either avoid growing it or grow it in an area with low foot traffic. If you're anything like me, you may end up putting every plant of yours into Google and typing herbalism afterwards, and while there are some concoctions that are made in the traditional areas where this is grown, I certainly would not try and go DIY with it. There is a related species known as Senna alexandrina or Senna herb, and that is used as a powerful laxative all over the world. It does have kind of a similar color and growing pattern, but it is not a lightweight laxative, and even nurses that I know who use it only use it in absolutely dire scenarios because it is like a river out of you, and do with that information what you will. And number 3, it is a warm zone perennial and does not tolerate frost. So here in zone 10A, it grows with absolute ease, and if you're in zones 9 and up, you can throw it in the ground and it'll thrive. But if you're any lower than zone 9, you'll either need to grow it in a container like I did and have it cap out at a certain height, or as an annual and chop it down when the frost is creeping in. You should also consider Senna hebecarpa, or wild senna, which is native to America and grows best in zones 4 through 8. Now, if after hearing all this and seeing its natural beauty, you do want to grow it, let me tell you 2 ways to do so. Method number 1 is to find either a local gardener or someone you know that's growing it, and then take a cutting of the stem. It's really easy to root directly in soil. You just stick it in, make sure that it stays moist for at least the first few weeks, then once you see roots, you're good to go. Method number 2, however, which is more likely going to be the reality for most people, is to start it from seed. For the first 2 years that I was growing this, I had so many people ask, where can I get seeds? How can I grow it? And there just aren't that many places that sell the seed because it's a pretty uncommon plant. But I have good news for you. After 3 years of growing it, I was finally able to save enough viable seeds to make them available. So if you do want some seeds, I have them available here. As far as germinating the seeds go, they do have a fairly tough exterior and need some scarification. You can achieve this by either scuffing the exterior lightly with sandpaper, or pre-treating them with freshly boiled water, or by placing them in water for 24 hours, which is what I do. You should sow the seeds about ½ an inch down in the soil and ensure that they're kept warm and moist, but not overly wet. Germination typically occurs between 10 to 21 days at temperatures between 65 and 72 degrees Fahrenheit. And if I haven't made it clear at any point in this video, I absolutely love this plant. It's one of the delights of coming into my garden every day. And while I'm a little sad that it got knocked over in the windstorm surrounding the Eaton fires, I know that it's going to bounce back with a little bit of staking and trellising. And it is my dream that every person who watches this video starts growing this plant and enjoys the beautiful colors, the wonderful leaves, and the delightful smell that it produces. If you enjoyed learning about this plant and want to learn more interesting things to grow in your garden, go ahead and give me a like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. What do you think about popcorn cassia? Is it something that you're going to grow, or are you still holding off a little bit? This has been Aaron, aka Garden Zaddy, and I'll see you on the next one.